Coming up in this edition of Media McKnight, why adults should be concerned about the upcoming social media ban for under 16s. What really happened at 9 between Liz Hayes and a senior executive. A TV news host under fire over bizarre comments made live on air. You won't believe what he said. And the big change I'm asking TV networks to make when daylight saving kicks in. All that and plenty more in episode 10 of Media McKnight. I'm Rob McKnight. With over 30 years' experience in the media industry, this is Media McKnight. The federal government has released the regulatory guidance for its social media minimum age legislation, which takes effect on Wednesday, the 10th of December, 2025. Just don't call it a ban. It's not a ban, it's a delay to having accounts, declares the e-safety explainer, as though there's any difference for anyone under 16. Look, as a parent, I'm not a fan of this law. I would rather determine what social media my kids can and can't use. And as an adult, I still have concerns about its implementation. But here's what Communications Minister Annika Wells had to say at a press conference announcing the finer details.
Platforms must implement the laws in a way that is effective, private and fair. They must communicate openly and transparently with their users about the age assurance systems that they are using. And they must use age assurance technology that is private, data minimising, secure and trustworthy, and must comply with the existing protections under the Privacy Act.
While all that sounds lovely, a lot is being left in the hands of big tech on what technology they'll use to implement the age restrictions. The government thinks this is all very doable, but there can be unintended consequences. You might remember back in 2021 when Facebook was in a standoff with the government over the News Media Bargaining Code, the social media actually turned off Australian news content. Charities and non-news creators were caught up in the ban. So it's impossible to predict whether some companies might just take a wide approach to meeting their requirements or use the opportunity to gain more access to identity documents to make users prove their age. Now, the government will say that there are ways the tech companies can use technology to determine the age of a user without those documents. But there is provision in the legislation for the collection of government-issued identification material. Let me quote, "E-safety will not dictate what age assurance or other steps are expected at each stage of the user journey, for example, at account creation or sign-up stage. However, providers must not collect government-issued identification material or use an accredited service without providing reasonable alternative means for age assurance." Listen to that language. Providers must not collect government-issued identification material, okay, or use an accredited service, but here's the trick, without providing reasonable alternative means for age assurance. So while the language places barriers to using government-issued identification, there is still wriggle room for the collection of that material. And that could mean having to upload documents to visit porn sites. Instead of using those sites as an anonymous user, The Guardian reports you might have to verify your age using one or more of the following methods: confirmation by a parent of age, photo ID, facial age estimation, credit card checks, digital identity wallets or systems, age inference by examining a user's behaviour, interests or other factors such as the length of time since account registration, third-party age assurance vendors. So that would mark a major change in the way adults can use the internet. They would have to take a photo of their face to go to a porn site? I don't think this is a thing many adults in Australia are expecting, and they're in for a rude shock. A front-page splash on the Sunday Telegraph provides new details on a long-rumoured feud between journalist Liz Hayes and the executive producer of 60 Minutes, Kirsty Thompson. It's no secret there's no love lost between the two, but what was unknown is that according to the report, Nine Entertainment held a confidential investigation into claims legendary journalist Liz Hayes and her Emmy Award-winning producer Gareth Harvey were bullied by the boss of its flagship current affairs program, 60 Minutes. It's a serious claim that was apparently investigated by Enterprise Investigations, but kept separate from Nine's infamous intersection report. Media McKnight understands Liz Hayes refused to go back to 60 Minutes after her show, under investigation, was axed. Both she and Harvey left the network, and both have been working at 7 News Spotlight on a freelance basis. This from the reporting in the Sunday Telegraph. It was Thompson's alleged behaviour towards Hayes, who had been at the network for more than 40 years before leaving earlier this year, and Gareth Harvey, a producer on 60 Minutes and the executive producer of Hayes' show, under investigation, which resulted in a formal complaint being made. What is interesting is the veracity of Nine's commentary in supporting Thompson, telling the paper they stand unequivocally by her. It's a strong statement at a time when networks are more likely to drop executives at the first sign of trouble. But Nine's stance will come as no surprise to many who took part in the intersection report. Current and former employees have reached out to me saying they were let down by the process and feel many in positions of power were never held to account. A lot can certainly happen in a television news studio while a presenter is live on air, but it's hard to think of any excuse that could have led to this moment a Fox News host said of the homeless, "Just kill them." That was the bizarre exchange which took place last Wednesday during a discussion on Fox and Friends when Brian Kilmeade and other hosts were talking about the murder of a woman in North Carolina. It's claimed the suspect in the killing struggled with mental illness and was living in a homeless shelter. Have a look at this exchange.
Billions of dollars to mental health and the homeless population. A lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that is necessary. You can't give them a choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you, or you decide that you're going to be locked up in jail. That's the way it has to be now.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
Right. I would say this. We're not voting for the right people. In North Carolina, wake up.
It's really shocking stuff. Now, it took a few days for the comments to be picked up, but once they were, it went viral. And Kilmeade offered this apology.
Yeah, and it actually happened when we were together on Wednesday, Lawrence. In the morning, we were discussing the murder of Irina Zaruska in Charlotte, North Carolina, and how to stop these kinds of attacks by homeless, mentally ill assailants, including institutionalizing or jailing such people so they cannot attack again. Now, during that discussion, I wrongly said they should get lethal injections. I apologize for that extremely callous remark. I'm obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion. Lawrence, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brian. I'll see you tomorrow.
Now, at this stage, it looks like Kilmeade will keep his job, although many have been fired for a lot less. The dreaded daylight saving is just around the corner, and I say dreaded because for those of us who live in Queensland, it means we'll be an hour behind New South Wales and Vic. And that means social media will light up with spoilers about prime-time reality shows as they go to air an hour earlier. It's a problem South Australia and WA deal with all year round. But here's my question. In the age of total TV, why won't TV networks make their local state streams available nationally? When I go to the ABC iView, I can watch the New South Wales, Vic, WA, all of the feeds in Queensland. They're not blocked. Up until recently, it didn't make sense for the commercial broadcasters to do the same, as it could hurt their ratings. But that's not the case anymore. Since the introduction of VOZ, all views through 7plus, 9Now and 10Play are counted towards the total TV figure. So me watching The Block or My Kitchen Rules an hour earlier via the apps wouldn't hurt their ratings. This point was made recently by David Knox on TV Tonight, who asked why 7 News Spotlight was being delayed on 7plus for the AFL, which delayed the linear broadcast. He suggested it should stream earlier in line with other states because they can put an extra stream up on the website. 7 listened and agreed to stream it earlier. A great result. But why leave it there? I can't think of any reason interstate streams should not be made available nationally. If anything, TV networks are more likely to get me to watch in order to have the shared experience while commentary is happening online. Can 7, 9 and 10 please consider this one? Okay, let's take a look at the top shows for the week based on the overnight VOZ data charts. Rankings are based on total TV national average because reach, well, it's BS. The Block has had another banger of a week with the Sunday edition averaging 1.6 million viewers to take out the number one spot of the week. 9 News Sunday came in at number 2 on 1.5 million, but the weeknight edition of 7 News beat 9 News by a very close 1,000 viewers. I keep saying this battle is one to watch, and if the trend continues, 9 News could become Australia's number one news next year. With each episode of The Block being coded separately, it took out multiple spots in the top 10. A Current Affair on 9 continued to dominate the 7 p.m. time slot. I'm going to be watching the battle between 9 and 7 News with much interest. And that brings us to the end of this edition of Media McKnight. The show streams every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time at youtube.com/@McKnightTonight. It's then available on demand straight after. McKnight Tonight is back tomorrow night and continues every Monday, Wednesday and Thursday at 9 p.m. It's a different take on the news of the day. And I'm going to leave you with a brand new song. It's catchy, I reckon, but I would say that because I wrote it. Well, I wrote the lyrics. AI delivered the rest. It is amazing what AI is doing. Have a listen. I'm Rob McKnight. I hope to see you soon. This was a bit of fun. Cheers.
Right from the start, you broke my heart. Love never seemed to bloom. I looked at you, but you wanted her, and I knew our love